The Athelian decelerated into Jupiter orbit at a constant 20th of a g, giving us a spectacular view of the gas giant's battling storm bands as we curved round towards the dark side. Even that's a misnomer. There is no such thing as true darkness down there. Lightning forks whose size could put the Amazon tributary network to shame slashed between oceanic spirals of frozen ammonia. It was awesome, beautiful, and terrifyingly large. I had to leave the twins by themselves in the observation blister once Athelian circularized its orbit 550,000 kilometers out. It took us another 5 hours to rendezvous with Eden. Not only did we have to match orbits, but we were approaching the habitat from a high inclination as well. Captain Soldana was competent, but it was still 5 hours of thruster nudges, low-frequency oscillations, and transient bursts of low-G acceleration. I spent the time strapped into my bunk, popping nausea suppressors and trying not to analogize between Athelian's jockeying and a choppy sea. It wouldn't look good arriving at a new posting unable to retain my lunch. Security men are supposed to be unflappable, carved from granite or some such nonsense anyway. Our cabin screen flicked through camera inputs for me. As we were still in the penumbra, I got a better view of the approach via electronically amplified images than eyeballing it from the blister. Eden was a rust-brown cylinder with hemispherical end caps 8 kilometers long, 2,800 meters in diameter. But it had only been germinated in 2075, 15 years ago. I talked to Pieter Zernov during the flight from Earth's O'Neill Halo. He was one of the genetics team who designed the habitats for the Jovian Sky Power Corporation, and he said they expected Eden to grow out to a length of 11 kilometers eventually. It was orientated with the end caps pointing north-south, so it rolled along its orbit. The polyp shell was smooth, looking more like a manufactured product than anything organic. Biology could never be that neat in nature. The only break in Eden's symmetry I could see were 2 rings of onion-shaped nodules spaced around the rim of each end cap, specialist extrusion glands which spun out organic conductor cables. There were hundreds of them, 80 kilometers long, radiating out from the habitat like the spokes of a bicycle wheel, rotation keeping them perfectly straight. It was an induction system. The cables sliced through Jupiter's titanic magnetosphere to produce all the power Eden needed to run its organs, as well as providing light and heat for the interior. "Quite something, isn't it?" I said as the habitat expanded to fill the screen. Jocelyn grunted non-committally and shifted round under her bunk's webbing. We hadn't exchanged 100 words in the last 24 hours. Not good. I had hoped the actual sight of the habitat might have lightened the atmosphere a little, raised a spark of interest. 20 years ago, when we got married, she would have treated this appointment with boundless excitement and enthusiasm. That was a big part of her attraction. A delighted curiosity with the world and all it offered. A lot can happen in 20 years. Most of it so gradual you don't notice until it's too late. I sometimes wonder what traits and foibles I've lost, what attitude I've woven into my own personality. I like to think I'm the same man, wiser but still good-humoured. Who doesn't? Eden had a long silver-white counter-rotating docking spindle protruding out from the hub of its northern end cap. Athelian was too large to dock directly. The ship was basically a grid structure resembling the Eiffel Tower, wrapped round the long cone of the fusion drive with tanks and cargo pods clinging to the structure as if they were silver barnacles. The life support capsule was a 60-metre globe at the prow, sprouting thermal radiator panels like the wings of some robotic dragonfly. In front of that, resting on a custom-built cradle, was the seed for another habitat, Ararat, Jupiter's third. A solid teardrop of biotechnology 100 metres long, swathed in thermal particle impact protection foam. Its mass was the reason Ethelian was manoeuvring so sluggishly. Captain Saldanha positioned us 2 kilometres out from the spindle tip and locked the ship's attitude. A squadron of commuter shuttles and cargo tug craft swarmed over the gulf towards the Ethelian. I began pulling out our flight bags from the storage lockers. After a minute, Jocelyn stirred herself and started helping me. "It won't be so bad," I said. "These are good people." Her lips tightened grimly. "They're ungodly people. We should never have come." "Well, we're here now. Let's try and make the most of it, okay? It's only for 5 years, and you shouldn't prejudge like that." "The word of the Pope is good enough for me," implying it was me at fault, as always. I opened my mouth to reply, but thankfully the twins swam into the cabin, chattering away about the approach phase. As always, the facade clicked into place. Nothing wrong. No argument. Mum and Dad are quite happy. Christ, why do we bother?